Hello everyone, this is Jamie, star with the New World News Network. On this video, episode, whatever, we're doing How Hollywood Failed Paula Patton. And now, she's very gorgeous. There's something specifically that I've seen her in that I cannot remember, and it was not mentioned in this. She's a gorgeous woman. Absolutely gorgeous. But this very much is written in the same way as my video I covered on the why Hollywood doesn't let us see black actors. And here's my overall complaint. I am sick of journalists and people in general who have no idea about anything. They don't have an idea how the entertainment industry works. They don't have an idea even how the signal gets from point A to your fucking TV. They don't have any idea how any of these industries work, but they got a problem with it. And that's one of the worst things you could ever do. I mean, let's just think, for example, that someone has a car, like their TV or whatever, and they've decided that their car isn't fast enough, and they want their car to be faster. So they go around, they start yelling at it, they start tinkering with it, they don't know what any of it is because they're not an auto mechanic. And then the whole thing is fucked up and it's completely off from what they imagined it would be. That's how I see this happening, because they have no idea how the entertainment industry works. I think they really view Hollywood like it's the government or something, like that they have this obligation towards people. Hollywood doesn't owe you anything. Hollywood is just a geographic location. And at that geographic location, there are numerous production companies and different corporations and, it's an industry. It'd be like saying how farming failed whoever, or, how... It aggravates me that these people have such little grasp of any and everything, and even to the point where they're so wrapped up in their idealism and their ideologies that they'll just be like, these complaints, like they don't make it about Jennifer Lawrence being Mystique, but you have comic book characters that are like blue and green and shit, and then they get their panties in a bunch when the characters are on TV and they're blue or green, because we can't be accurate to the original story when we do film adaptations, I guess, because accuracy is racist. So, we just see, this is nothing except an agenda piece, and they've just found this little morsel of a non-issue to sort of build their agenda around. So, here we have it where long past the point of no return in the new women-hating Adam Sandler Netflix comedy, The Do-Over, Paula Patton delivers a line we might easily read as a hidden cry for help. It's deja vu, she squeaks, in what is the hands-down most thankless role of her career to date, instantly conjuring the ghost of her 2006 Tony Scott flick Deja Vu, in which Denzel Washington travels back in time to save her from the clutches of an evil terrorist. If only such miracles were possible in the face of a tyranny as potent as the new Adam Sandler comedy. Now, honestly, I saw this movie. I was pretty stoned when I was watching it, so there are parts that I don't really remember that well, I guess. But I don't think it was that memorable of a movie. Now, I don't think it was covered in sexism and misogyny, as this article will get into, but it just wasn't as good as his older films. And I think that's true about most of his work in general. It just seems to... You get used to his type of jokes, though. So, anyway. They go on fucking licking her clit for a bit, making her into some huge deal, talking about her in the Will Smith, her in London. Fast forward through the decades, that seems a little traction gained on the big screen for women, let alone women of color. This month, in addition to donning emerald skin and cumbersome fangs in the critically panned video game epic Warcraft, The actress finds herself in the unviable position of being oogled, sexually objectified, physically attacked, and generally abused in a host of ugly ways as David Spade's love interest in an Adam Sandler action comedy. These people don't understand comedy whatsoever. It takes nearly 50 minutes for Patton to even show up in the duo. I mean, this is they're getting aggravated with how long it takes because and this is so annoying because it's like I really feel like these people would just be happy if we just showed like the intro for the movie and then we're like black female, black female, black female, Mexican child, Mexican child, Mexican child, crippled Asian man, crippled Asian man, crippled Asian man, and just like rolled out all these token characters with no context or anything just so we can, and then we'll do a group hug at the end and be like, equal representation, diversity, equality, I mean, that's the only cure for their complaints, really, is to just this token characterization of everyone where it's so disgusting it could only result in being a parody of their goals, basically. So, it takes nearly 50 minutes for Patton to even show up in the do-over. The latest in the Sandler 4-picture Netflix deal, The Ridiculous Six, a comedy so laden with offensive Native American characters that the actors even walked off set in protest. They should have been fired. Go tell them fuck themselves. You want to protest the movie you signed up and auditioned to be in? You auditioned. Fuck you. Go. I'm sure Hollywood's got lots of other people looking to work with Adam Sandler. Seriously. Anyone Oscar so white? Get out of this town. Go fuck yourself. You won't be in a movie again. This is why I'm running for Supreme Commander and Dictator, because we really need a firm lay down the law with some fucking sanity nowadays. This makes no sense. You try out for these roles. You auditions. You hire people to get you these roles. It's not even something you do on your own accord. You have a publicist, a manager, an agent, all these people you employ to get you these positions, and then you want to go and bitch about the positions? Fuck you. Quit. Go flip burgers somewhere, and then you can protest you want $15 an hour, and we'll replace you with an android of some sort. When she does, finding herself in the sights of Sandler and Spade's amateur con men in the middle of a terminally convoluted plot that only gets exponentially dumber, the pair stalk her from afar, drooling over her physique before intentionally running over her with a Winnebago. I even hate the way these people write at this point. Like, I hate the fluff writing. Like, it's just words. It's word vomit. Like, you're talking for the sake of inflating your own ego. This is why I do these videos instead of being a journalist. I've thought about it. And because I'm good with words. I'm good at writing. I've been, I can write songs, I can write essays, I can write articles. I can do all of it. But at this point, I have such a loathing for it, where it's like, I know how to fill something with fluff. And that's all these people do, is they fill it with fluff, but I know to them it's not fluff. This is their meat and potatoes. Like, when they go on these rants, you'll see these next two paragraphs are full of it. But it's them just inflating their own ego. The more 3-syllable words they can put in here to talk down about it, the greater they feel about themselves. That's the Adam Sandler version of meet cute in movie with two middle-aged men are emboldened to act out their horny douchebag fantasies for 2 hours because their shitty lives and the women in them owe them that much. Every single female character is oversexed, shrewish, and secretly scheming against them. And Patton, the nice lady whose dead husband identity Spade's dorky bank manager has unwittingly taken over, finds herself, more than anyone else, subject to one degrading line after another. The do-over is an MRA wet dream in which... No, I'll tell you what's an MRA's wet dream. Porn. That's... Yeah, you want to fucking squeeze one out? Watch porn. Don't watch the do-over. Trust me. take my advice, in which Sandler and Spade justify grossly misogynist posturing with cheap twists and plot turns, firing a flare gun at a women in bikinis for laughing at their junk after flashing their breasts, and worse. Now, if you didn't see the movie, let me tell you what happens, because obviously this point was lost on this woman who loves misandry. The girls, you have these two groups on yachts or boats of some sort going down. The girls show their tits, the guys are like, oh, hey, So then the girls go, show us yours. So David Spade pulls down his pants, and then the women start making fun of him. So Adam Sandler, standing up for his friend, shoots a flare at him. Shit like that happens. Here's a funny story a friend told me once, actually. Lindsay Lohan used to hang out at Marist College. She had a friend from Long Island who would go and hang out at Marist College. Contrary to what people would believe, Lindsay Lohan's character in Mean Girls is basically the complete opposite of who she really is. She actually is the Regina character. She is the mean girl. So she would go hang out with all of her friends at Marist, and of course all the guys would want to hang out with them. So they would basically parade in wimpy, dorky guys, make them pull down their pants, show them their dicks and everything, and then the girls would make fun of them and ridicule them and put makeup on them and basically just degrade and demasculate these men in any way possible. So I'm sure that's all fine by this author. That's just girls being girls, I guess. Turns out, one of the girls who lived in that dorm died from, cerebral meningitis? Is that what you get when you have open containers and you're just an overall dirty bitch? Yeah, so one of them passed away from cerebral meningitis. And I guess the funeral was just laden with people talking about who was the closer friend of Lindsay's and everything like that. It's a whole hot mess. But women really do this stuff. They're mean. And of course, God forbid a guy stand up for his friend who's being made fun of by a group of women. Well, that's just grossly misogynist and posturing. And worse, for all the sketchy sexism that spews out of Sandler's mouth, it's Spade, whose hero moment comes essentially as he pummels a woman in the stomach and screams, "I'm so tired of women lying to me and fucking me over." Me too, but, whatever. It's hard to imagine any actress easily shaking off the grime of sharing a scene in which Sandler and Spade, walking 10 paces behind her into a biker bar, trade lines like, "I bet she needs a nice dick to cry on," or "She's grieving, which makes her vulnerable, which means you have a shot." Later, Sandler takes Spade aside and imparts some blowhard douche bro advice into his mild-mannered friend. Look at her eyes, grab her by the back of the neck and say nothing, and then fuck her in the mouth a few times. And here's the thing. How many paragraphs did we just go through? 1, 2, 3, 4. See, this isn't an article about Paula Patton or whatever. This is an article about them just listing their complaints about this Adam Sandler movie. So now, if there was only a way to give Patton a do-over, because they're so disgusted by that movie. So now they go on about what she wanted to do when she was younger and different aspiring actors and directors, and of course goes in, Hollywood knows that Patton produced a series called Medicinal Diaries 2 years ago. It was canceled, and a year after starring, taking actress lessons, she landed Deja Vu, her biggest break, in a rare stroke of colorblind casting. The role wasn't written for a person of color star, but at 30, by the time it opened, age wasn't a big issue in her casting as her age, she revealed. Oh, so you mean we actually let the best actress try out for the gig, and if they're the greatest, they get it? I mean, doesn't this completely debunk your whole idea that there's a racial superiority casting mechanism in place? Or, because they want one, obviously. And she says, Hollywood knows you can't do all these white films anymore, she said optimistically, giving Hollywood a bit too much credit a full decade before Oscars so white. The Oscars was just an award show where no black people got nominated. This is not Hollywood. The Oscars, and this is what they do, of course, One white kid shoots up a school. All white kids are. This is a systematic, emblematic of society at large. Oscars at white is systematically, emblematically responsible for Hollywood. Oh my God. Diversity is more interesting. Frankly, people initially seem to be more worried about my age than the color of my skin. In this business, there are just too many boundaries and boxes. You have to not listen. There's only one way to achieve what others view as impossible. Of course, this person thinks their optimism is full of shit. Let's see. And then it also goes on. Let's see. When she separated from Robin Thicke. Here we go. More problematically, Patton carries on the long and regressive tradition of exoticized actresses of color who must be painted blue or green. Yeah, in order to properly play the character they auditioned for, moron, in order to carry a lead position in an international blockbuster. Not really. It goes on about the numbers of that. Here's another thing. A study published in February by the Annenberg School for Communication and Journalism made it official what's been painfully clear for decades. Hollywood is failing at diversity. Maybe Hollywood's objective isn't diversity. Maybe Hollywood's objective is to sell movies. Maybe you are the one that wants Hollywood more diverse so we can be black man, Mexican, Asian, token characters everywhere that make no sense in the plot line. This is no mere diversity problem. This is an inclusion crisis. Over half the content we examine features no Asians or Asian American characters. You know where I bet there's a whole lot of Asian characters? In Chinese movies. Probably there might even be a few Asians in some Japanese movies. Korea too. I'd check those out. Because it seems to make sense that when you live somewhere, those people would be represented in the industries there, right? And over 20% featured no African American characters. It is clear the ecosystem of the industry. And then here it goes on to say that on-screen gathering about 4.1% of characters for black female characters. Now I wonder, let's see, what percent of population is black female? I don't know if we'll get a quick answer, but I mean, because what I'm basically gathering here is African American women who make up 13% of the female population. That's not the entire population. If I could figure out, I would bet because they say blacks are about 20% of the population. So cut that in half, you're down to about 10. So it's about half of where it should be. And they're not even going to like me saying that, but if you want an adequate representation, then we should probably only have about 8.2, at most 10% of black females, because that would be more in line with their amount of people in there. What I don't understand is Jews are like 2% of the population, but they're all over Hollywood. I mean, they're everywhere. They're coming out of the woodworks. They own the studios, a bunch of your actors and actresses, so on and so forth. But there's never an issue about over-representation of Jews in the media. And, I mean, I'm not trying to go down that rabbit hole. But why is there not issue with who there is? Because Jews, of course, just get lumped in under the race thing of white people. So anyway, I wanted to bitch and moan about that because I'm really getting aggravated with these know-nothing journalists complaining about how businesses work or don't work or how they want them to work. And it has absolutely no grasp of how anything actually happens or why they are the way they are. So hope everyone enjoyed. Have a good one. Subscribe. Check the links below. This is Jamie Starr, New World News Network.